let's address the elephant in the room. Nathaniel Hackett. His first start has not gotten off to a good start as a head coach for the Denver Broncos, and it's got a lot of people in Broncos Country wondering, is this the guy, right? Is he the head coach for the future? So we're going to talk about his seat, how hot it is, how warm it is. Plus, he was asked about relinquishing play calling duties. So we're going to take a look at that response here. But I want to get this out in the open right now, right off the bat. Nathaniel Hackett's not getting fired midseason. He's just not. They're not. George Paton is not going to can the first head coach he hired after 8 games, after 7, 9, however many games. He's going to give him the full year. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's a separate conversation. But the one we're going to have today is about how hot Hackett's seat is. And it's definitely not ice cold, but no matter how hot it gets, barring an absolute just train wreck disaster where he is completely in over his head and is incompetent, I don't see a way unless the owners pressure Paton, and everyone's new, keep in mind, even George Paton's somewhat new. He hasn't been there for half a decade. I think Hackett is going to be safe for this season. Long term, let's let the season play out. It's only been 2 games, and that's important for even myself to remember. It's only been 2 games, and how different things could be if Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams don't fumble in the end zone, going into the end zone. But the Texans game, there's really no excuses for 13 penalties at home. So let's talk about this in a little bit more detail here, because those penalties, they're frustrating, right? 25 penalties in 2 weeks, a franchise record for the most amount of penalties in any 2-week span. 13 coming at home, just unacceptable, right? That is the kind of stuff where it's not suggestions, it's changes. Changes have to be made. Starting on the play calling in the offense. You got to score in the gold zone, as you call it, Hackett. You got to score in the red zone. 0 for 6 so far. Now, it's important to separate what Hackett can control and what Hackett cannot control. No coach can control ball security. That is something out of their hands. When a running back gets the ball put in their belly at the 1-yard line, the coach has belief that they are going to hold on to that football. They can't control that. So don't pin that on Hackett. Now, when adversity hits, you got to overcome it. And he has struggled with that. But let's talk about play calling, because I don't think it's actually as big of a problem as people think it is, actually. So here's what Hackett said when he was asked about giving up play calling duties. I think I'll continue the play calling. I think that's been pretty efficient up to this point. We've done a good job moving the ball. We've had a good plan from that standpoint. We just have to finish those drives. I think from the game management standpoint, we just have to tighten up that whole thing. A lot of us, we are all working together for the first time, so we just want to be sure we're more efficient in that and have the ability to make better decisions and quicker decisions. Now, before I react to that quote right there, Week 3 sub battle, our channel versus the 49ers channel here at Chat Sports, hosted by Chase Sr. Help me beat them in subscribers. I'm just a competitive guy. So if you are too and you want to see the Broncos win, help me out by clicking that sub button. Now, before we start looking at some numbers here, let's kind of actually go back to that quote. Just kind of unpack this kind of full screen, because I had some takeaways, all right? And then we'll get to these stats here. So I like how Hackett is being pretty transparent and frankly honest with us. I think he's been pretty upfront. He's not trying to pass blame off. He's taking it on the chin. He's saying we have to do better. And he's accurate that they have moved the ball down the field. That's not been an issue. He's right on the money. They've got to finish drives. But it's this next part here that kind of trips me up a little bit. Look what it says here. A lot of us, we are all working together for the first time. So Hackett, don't you think it might have been a good idea to maybe put some extra reps for everyone in the preseason, since that's what the preseason is for? And I'm being a bit of a hypocrite right now because I was a defender of not playing starters in the preseason. But if you felt that things were not clicking well enough in practice, don't test it out for the first time in the game. Not in regular season football. Do it in the preseason. That's on him. He should have been able to recognize that. But the Broncos offense, it has been stale, right? 16 points per game through 2 games so far. That's yucky for trading for Russell Wilson and only putting up 2 touchdowns and change. But the yards, not a problem. Top 10, 7th. Passing yards, 8th. Rushing yards, these are all top 10 numbers. Third down, 40%. I've seen worse. It could be better, but I've seen worse. But red zone, 0 for 6. That's really what it's come down to so far, is finishing off drives. And Hackett, when you come in here as an offensive guy, this tends to be your forte. And that's why I go back to some things are out of Hackett's control. This is what I was talking about earlier. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams fumbling in the end zone or going into the end zone, that's not on Hackett. But when it comes to executing drives and discipline and not relying on fans to count down the play clock for you, that is on you, right? Let's separate those two things. And honestly, you can only go so far with excuses when it comes to those fumbles in the red zone because you're supposed to be resilient. I get that that's not your fault, and it isn't your fault. But at the same time, when shit hits the fan, you got to respond. The answer can't be, well, if we don't fumble, we win this game. Yeah, but at the same time, overcome hurdles because there's never been a team to win the Super Bowl that won every single game 35-0. You're going to get punched in the mouth. How do you react to it? I don't condone this next part, but in case you're wondering, these are the odds for the first head coach to be fired. Matt Rule is a big favorite at plus 200. Frank Reich, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike Vrabes following them. Kevin Stefanski from the Browns at plus 1,200. And then there are two first-year head coaches. Nathaniel Hackett, I think things are bad in Mile High. It's not that much better in the Sin City. Josh McDaniels, both of them plus 1,200. Don't bet on Hackett. He's not going to get fired in his first year mid-season. No, it's just not going to work out that way. All right, we got more to get to, including some injury updates to kind of keep you guys updated on that front. But first, who do you have? Me and producer Patrick Seatman were talking about this. Every single NFL fan talks themselves into their team winning week 1. And if you win that game, then it must be win week 2, because how could you lose after winning? It doesn't make sense. Brain can't compute that. But if you lose week 1, then it's bounce back week 2. You're never going to predict 0-2. Week 3 is where the men get separated from the boys when it comes to NFL picks. It's not easy. Who do you have? I think I'm going to go with the Niners. I think we are all praying that things are not going to go full meltdown mode, and I fear a storm is coming. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a better QB for this team than Trey Lance. Now, here's some more quotes from Hackett I wanted to share. He was talking about the fans, and he said, they were awesome. I mean, they are loud. It's great for the defense. It was great. The countdown, all that kind of stuff, they are smart. There were some issues that were going on, and it was a great warning for us. I love that environment. Say what you want about Hackett. I really do appreciate and respect and admire his honesty and his transparency with the fans and with the media. Because some coaches would have said that was minor league stuff. That was BS of the fans. Credit to Hackett. He is taking his medicine right now, and he is not shying away from this team underperforming through 2 weeks. And maybe he's even got a bit of a sense of humor because he's a fun guy. I've listened to a lot of his interviews. I do think he's a good person at heart. He just hasn't looked like a head football coach through the first 2 weeks. It could change, but thus far hasn't looked like it. More from Hackett. We have to communicate better. It starts with me and getting the proper information that I need. I get excited and I'm a little aggressive at times. Sometimes that might not be the right decision. This is what I was talking about in terms of Hackett being honest, right? Not shying away from the truth, saying we have to be better at communication and I've got improvements to make from my end. There are a lot of people in this industry that will push blame and deflect blame. You might see that in common things like, you know what, defense wasn't looking good. We got to get together with our defensive coaches and figure out the game plan. That's basically wink, wink, not my fault, blame it on the DC, right? Buy me some extra time to save face. Hackett has done a great job of owning up to this team's shortcomings thus far. Before we get to the injury updates, I'll promise I'll get that to you, but there is a deal on Fanatics right now I don't want you guys to miss on. It's a little toasty still, but fall is right around the corner, and depending on where you live, it might be already there. So if you want to rep a great Broncos hoodie and also keep your favorite team on your chest week in and week out, make sure you head on over chatsports.com/DEN for Denver DEN hoodie. I had that link in the comments and the description, so you don't have to memorize it if you don't want to, but you got to use that link to get the deal. So head on over chatsports.com/DEN hoodie. Let's get to some injury updates here. This one coming in from Mike Kliss tweeting out, Hackett said Jeudy, Surtain injuries are day-to-day. There was fear initially both were worse. Not sure about them playing Sunday versus San Francisco, but not long-term injuries. That's great to see. And honestly, you had to see that. This team could not suffer losing Jerry Jeudy and Patrick Surtain for an extended period of time because the injury bug has been awful. It's been a plague in Denver, to put it lightly. You lose Tim Patrick in training camp. That's a tough bummer to overcome. But in another note, for Russell Wilson, it's something you never have, so you don't know what you lost. You know what I mean? Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, both dealing with injuries. That's 3 receivers gone. That doesn't help Russell Wilson, who has not gotten off to a pitch-perfect start. Billy Turner, right tackle, we've yet to see him play. I'm getting more and more concerned. Now, we'll have an update on him in just a second. Quinn Miners, he's going to be out for quite some time. Not IR, so that's good, but I'm guessing no Sunday this week and maybe not even the following week. Josie Jewell, we'll have an update for him in a second. We talked about Surtain. And then how about we just bury the lead? Justin Simmons, the leader of this defense, out for 4 weeks. 3 more weeks to go, missing the Texans game. Just the Broncos' bad luck for one too many straight years at this point. All right, let's get to those updates, though. Zach Stevens tweeting out, Pat Surtain and Jerry Jeudy are day-to-day, which is good news per Nathaniel Hackett. Unsure if they'll play on Sunday. So similar to what Kliss told us, just extra ammunition in terms of where are they at, because I think we're all praying they are ready to go for Sunday Night Football. Deebo Samuel's going to be on the field. Brandon Ayuk. Ronald Darby's not been bad. Damari Mathis had a good game against the Texans. We're all more comfortable if Surtain's on that defense. And Jeudy, Sutton was great. I'm ashamed of myself for not talking about him more this week. I've kind of just been clouded by the negativity. But, come on. Jeudy and Sutton, you need them both. All right, how about this tweet from Andrew Mason now on Billy Turner? Hackett saying, Turner and Jewell are very close, expecting they'll practice this week. So, what's a little interesting from this here is Billy Turner has been practicing. He's just been a no-go come Sunday. Starting to get more and more worried that I don't know what Billy Turner's knee is like. I'm not Billy Turner. I don't have his knee on me. But I am worried that it's hitting a point where it's just not getting better, right? Where it's kind of hitting a wall. Hopefully I'm wrong and he can play because Cam Fleming, Calvin Anderson, they're not long-term solutions. Billy Turner might not be either, but I think he's a better option for the time being. And then Josie Jewell, Jonas Griffith has been underwhelming in my opinion through 2 games. I think Alex Singleton has been the best inside linebacker, but very little depth to that spot. Let's get Jewell back on the field. All right, before we send you guys on your way to enjoy the rest of your day, if you are not giving up, this is a nice conversation between you and me, whether you're on your couch, your bed, wherever you're watching today's show. If you are not giving up on this team after a 1-1 start, give me a let's ride in the comment section.